blast right now.
There's certain things for the grandmas you need to do.
Yeah, because it's been a long time since I've had little.
I pawned them all. I brought them into Missoula last Wednesday, and they had a blast. I gave mom a break, but she gets nice.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming out for all of these. It's not just for one candidate, it's for everybody. So on that note, Jeff, here's your reading.
I recognize lots of you guys. I haven't seen it. Some of you guys I haven't seen since maybe the last go around. You guys laid low for a while. We're going to be out of it.
Yeah, right. Hiding.
But for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Jeff Stanek. I teach at the school in St. Regis. I'm on my 8th year here, teaching in St. Regis, social studies. So this year I've got U.S. history, government. I'm teaching a philosophy elective, which is exciting right now. Senior seminar in economics, and yeah, I think that wraps it up for this one. Yeah. But it's the best job I ever had. I love it. And it's my only regret is it's such a small sample size. My impact could be, bigger if I was at a bigger school, but I think I'd probably get fired because I teach real history, so. But the reason I'm running again is, did you have something?
Yeah, and you say you teach real history, and teaching real history, do you have your class stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance every day?
Every morning we say that the entire school says that. Right?
Does it? Does
Every
it?
morning, yeah, that's part of
Okay,
it.
that's good. I mean, it's been done away with in so many schools. I didn't know if you guys did it or not.
Yeah, and for government class right now, they're actively engaged in Article 2 of the Constitution. So the executive branch, we're digging in deep right now. They're trying to figure out if executive orders are constitutional or not. So they're diving into a lot of resources. And I'm not a huge fan of, I think that they get too much screen time as it is. So we do real pen and paper. I make handwrite things. It's awesome. And we just finished the legislative branch, and they acted as they mimicked a currently serving representative, and they drafted bills, and we went through the entire process. How does a bill become a law? So they got to go. They formed committees. They had to establish relationships behind the scenes, just like, and we did the whole thing. It was really cool. They loved it. I think they loved it. If they were faking it, they did.
They did a good job. Well, studying politics and faking it, that sort of fits.
I guess, so this is dangerous for me to say this since I'm running for political office, but you guys know how to tell if a politician's lying, right?
Yeah.
Their lips are moving.
No, sure.
Maybe, okay, we'll say like 95% of them is probably.
Thank you for teaching history and not politics.
Yeah.
And thank you for teaching history as law and not as history. Our Constitution, when you go to any Barnes & Noble, ask the gal where the Constitution is found, and she will walk you back to the history section, not law.
Really?
Yes. I complain every time I go in Barnes & Noble. Just saying. Thank you.
Yeah.
Consider maybe in the off season if you have adults that are amenable to learning the same process. I think that it's something that we can always be reinforced with, and I know that our Republican Central Committee is changing. Our county's becoming bigger and more people, and please offer to adults as well. I appreciate that.
That would be cool. I would enjoy it. And to maybe spread the word. Okay, so the reason I'm running, I ran last go around when I was in a 3-way primary. A couple of you guys we already talked about this, but I was in a 3-way primary. Myself, Steve Delisle, and Curtis Cochran, our current representative. And Steve Delisle and I split the vote in this 3-way primary. I forget, I think it was something like I pulled 900 votes or around there. Delisle pulled around 500 or 600 votes, and Cochran won with 1,000 or something close like that. So I vowed that I wouldn't do that ever again. I saw it. Yeah. I mean, it was close. It was a very close race, but I recognized, that it ended up putting in a representative for a district that didn't vote conservative.
Doesn't
on-
represent us?
Yeah, didn't vote conservative. And Curtis and I are very cordial, you know, I see him at the basketball games, because I did some volunteer coaching again this year, kind of easing back into it, but, you know, they're there, he's at the home games and stuff, and, but I don't like his voting record, and that's why I'm running again. And really, behind the scenes while I'm running again, I think a lot of people didn't like that he voted to raise property taxes, so that would be House Bill 231 and Senate Bill 542. So anybody that has second property in Montana or rental property or something like this, they got their property taxes raised, increased. And this comes on the aftermath of, and I just said this to you, about a couple years ago, we had a $2.5 or $2 billion surplus in tax money. So we had already collected way more tax revenue than we had expected, say we, the government, the state government did. And they gave us remember the refund checks, we got $400 back, or whatever it was. It seemed like it was peanuts or whatever, okay, you know. But we follow that up with increasing the budget and raising taxes again. It doesn't make sense. So if we had a surplus 2 years ago, we're in good shape. We don't need to do anything. In fact, maybe what we should do is cut taxes and cut spending, because we had a surplus. But no, it's the government did the thing that it does. People get in and let's grow this thing, which I don't agree with. And I know probably everybody in this room does. So, but the behind the scenes story, what I was getting at is, I got a phone call from a gal that's very politically active, and she said, we want you to run. And the gentleman that had already, I guess, put his name in to run, I don't think he had officially filed, because it wasn't the actual filing wasn't opening, but he had signed up with the COPP where they do the financing stuff. And she said, we're gonna have a big talk and kind of describe that maybe he would be better served, you know, in a local position, or, you know, we have county commissioner positions coming open, something like that, maybe precinct, to kind of get more established, and then that we think you would be a better candidate to run against Cochran and win. And I chuckled and kind of laughed and thought, I wonder if that'll actually happen. But I immediately, I started to pray about it and just asked, if this is serious, Lord, you know, let it happen, and I'll do it, I'll honor you. And one thing led to another, and I'm really shortening this down, but he ends up dropping out of the race and saying, you know, like, I'll support your run, you know, I think you got a good chance of doing it, so here I am, which is kind of, I don't know if I use the word exciting. I don't feel excitement about it. I think service probably just like, all right, this is it now, you know. So I spoke on Senate Bill 542 and House Bill 231, but a couple other things that made me, it gave me pause when somebody says they're running as a Republican, or they are a Republican, or they're conservative. But he voted on, so our current representative voted on, he voted against parents having a choice over their child's education. That was House Bill 320. So there was a program that they were trying to establish to provide a tax rebate or tax breaks for parents that either maybe they want to homeschool, or maybe they want to do a charter school, a private school. To have it's a step in the right direction to have the money follow the child, because if you're paying taxes for the education system and you have kids, you should be able to decide what you want to do with their education. It's not the state's kids, it's your kids. But so that gave me pause. I didn't like that at all. And then he voted against a joint resolution, the House Joint Resolution 5, which there's a lot of states that are banding together to try to put restrictions on the federal government, because the states created the federal government. So this would have been like term limits on congressmen and women. So I think that's a positive. We don't want career politicians in Washington. And see, the states we can do that. Why? Because we're supposed to we created the government, the federal government. It's not the other way around. But and then another one was balanced budget. which seems reasonable. We're $38 trillion, $39 trillion in debt almost, you know? But he voted against that, which is strange. The thing that really caught me off guard is I found out that he had said he supported those things. And then when it came down to it, votes are changed. And I don't like that. I don't like I said, I'm cordial with him, but I wouldn't do that. I think we need somebody that is actually conservative to represent our district.
Yes.
And ultimately, like the big picture of this is we have our posterity to really think about. And I really, in 10 or 20 or 30 years, I don't want to look back at our state and see it given over to big government, like all of these other states that are in our union. I don't want my boys to be taxed to death. I don't like that. I mean, enough's enough. I mean, there was a $2 billion surplus. Enough is enough, you know? People give me these arguments that, well, yeah, but it's inflation and it's population growth. It only explains a tiny, tiny bit of it because it's a symptom of a bigger problem that is ever expanding government. Unless you have people in there I've actually met a lot of people currently serving and are running that are in the same boat. We're all thinking the exact same way of like, we just need to go in and say no, which is really, I think that's positive. I like it. And if the movement continues, I think we can hold the state together, you know? Lower taxes, it's crazy, it's just crazy. It's a crazy principle. So with that, I don't know, I guess I'll open it up to, if you guys have thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, anything like that.
The thing you might mention with conservative is constitutionalist,
Oh, yeah.
because my observation of you has been that you are a constitutionalist. You actually know what it says.
Yeah.
As well as how it should be used in the state.
And do you believe in using it that way?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have?
What's the
I
point of
was
having,
getting
what's the point of
that.
having?
Well, but like you
Having
say,
a
they
microphone.
lie. I've asked that to other people and they've said yes, and then they turn around and they're rhinos. And that just upsets me. I'm ready to go back to the old West rules on, hey, let's put our pistols on.
Somebody said they were for peace, remember? I don't know who that was.
Do you have any dream legislation or ideas that you believe could help at the, I don't know, at the public level
Yeah.
or
So,
county level?
I think it would be a really, really smart idea to take some of the money that's wasted in government, that's already been allocated, that's wasted in government, and help out our rural volunteer fire departments. I think that's a really, really big one. And so like out here, you know this especially, I mean, it is, you guys, it's like you're a full-time job from probably, what would you say, October through April? Maybe, depending on the
Even
weather.
in the summer, he gets called out
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, the crash rescue, they do.
Yeah.
They run
And now
like
he's
150
doing
a year.
wildlands.
Yeah.
He's also our wildland firefighter now.
Yeah.
He's got the whole team trained and they're going out making money for the fire department that way.
See, I mean, but there should be, that comes down to what is the purpose and role of government? According to the preamble of the Constitution, it says that, provide for the common defense, domestic tranquility. And I would say that I don't think it's the role of the government, whether it's the state government or the federal government, to be a nanny. I don't think that's the role. So we should probably look at where money is wasted and actually provide for things like volunteer fire department. It might be saving your life if you're in an accident on lookout. I think that that's reasonable. And I would never,
training,
yeah,
go for that.
yeah. And you're never gonna hear me make the argument of, oh, we should increase taxes to do that. I don't think you need to. I think that the money is there. It's just finding where's the fraud, waste, and abuse that's happening. Like tax dollars, right?
So you support, you would support state Doge.
Yeah.
Let's audit it all.
Yeah.
You still have to pay for it.
Would you co-sponsor
Yes.
a bill that would clearly define an audit for the state? Or the county even?
I would be very open to it, very open. I would want to see what's the language of the bill, I would wanna see exactly what are we going after before, but, I mean, I would be very, very open to that.
You can write it too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Talking about other pieces of legislation, go ahead, yeah.
Okay, on the volunteer fire department,
Sure.
there is a tax on a bunch of stuff that goes to fire departments, okay? Except it is all used up by the professionals for their retirement, okay? One of the things that is missing in a lot of volunteer fire departments is workers' compensation. Back when I was playing fire chief and I was on the state board, I tried to get that introduced in the legislature.
Yeah.
I had no luck with the Republicans at the time, but the Democrats the following year, about the time I bailed out,
Yeah.
asked if we wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
But that is something so you protect these guys that run out to play the game. Because a lot of them get injured,
And they're volunteering.
and they're volunteers, right?
Yeah.
Now, the fire department can pay for workers' comp. When I took over this fire department 20 years ago, the very first thing I did was get workers' comp, because there wasn't any.
Yeah.
And so, I have 30 years in the insurance business. I'm the only guy with 3 sets of letters behind me. Okay? And that's why I live up on top of the hill hiding.
Yeah.
But that would be something you might want to think about.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm opening ideas, all of those ideas, because, again, what's the purpose of government?
To hear our ideas,
Yeah. I mean,
to support the people and do what we need done.
To set a foundation so we may govern ourselves.
Yeah, self-government, exactly, yeah. You got brought up, any other dream legislation, I think a lot of times people get pulled in. I've met a lot of people that they run for political office for lots of reasons. But I've yet to hear somebody say, you know, I'm running, because sometimes, you need to say no. Like a no vote is actually as important to the people that you represent than sponsoring new legislation, coming up with a new law or new bill or something like that. So I like that a lot because I think no is powerful. Voting no, you know, or killing bad legislation, I think that's very powerful. 2 things that come to my mind that would go with this. One is we have laws on the books in Montana that are not enforced. So then why would we have laws if we're not enforcing it? One would be the chicken tax. And I joked about it 2 years ago. But if any of us have chickens, I do, backyard chickens, you're supposed to be paying a tax on these. Voluntarily. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
This is a real thing. And I'm like, how are you enforcing this? Backyard chickens, my 5 chickens, I need to pay a tax. What is that, like 10 cents a head or something? Maybe, and who do I pay this to? Do you even know that?
And where does the money go if you collect it?
Yeah.
What do they use it for?
I mean, so like that's bizarre to me that we would do such a thing. And one thing that got brought to my attention by a good friend of mine is that he said, have you seen the signs when you go to any of the Fish and Wildlife boat ramps all over the Clark Fork, St. Regis, wherever it is? He's like, have you seen the signs over there? I'm like, what signs are we talking about? You know? And he says, I'm going to take a picture and show you. And he says, you need to think about this if this thing ends up happening. There are signs down there, you guys, and there's a law in the books that says if you don't have a conservation license, like if we all don't buy one, we can't use those. We can't use the boat ramps. You can't use it. And I have a photo of the signs from the one in town in St. Regis. And so you think about all of the kids that use those to float, you know, when they float the river. All of the people that just want to take their dog for a walk down and let them play in the water. If you're using that, if you're using it, you don't have a conservation license, you're breaking the law.
If I drive through the state land in my Jeep and I have 5 people in that Jeep, guess what? All 5 of us have to have it.
See how crazy this is? That's
That
nuts.
is that $20 a pop.
And our tax dollars paid for this stuff. So why do I, now, I mean, it doesn't matter because I hunt and fish, so that's fine, but what about all the people that don't?
And the
It doesn't,
visitors,
it's not, you know, you see what I'm saying?
it sounds like a way to easily target visitors too, and
Yeah.
get tickets out.
Well, it sounds like the way somebody's putting money in their pockets with some of these, you know, I'm sure of that.
Yes, so legislature is supposed to work with and balance against the governor.
Yeah.
What is your biggest, as you would define it, in terms of executive action, disagreement with the governor, and if you want your biggest agreement?
Voting to raise the budget by $2 billion. It was 1.93 billion we raised the budget this last go around. That would be the biggest disagreement. That we can't say we're conservative if you're gonna raise the budget 13%.
I'll admit I wasn't paying attention. Was this a percentage? Did the increase result from a change in the percentages, or was it, did the increase result from a bigger amount being applied to the same percentage?
So, let me look at I'll read the budget, the General Appropriations Act. So, after the governor's line item vetoes, the General Appropriations Act allocated 16.46 billion in total funds for the biennium, a 13.5% increase, or $1.96 billion increase compared to the budget adopted in 2023. The increase in spending was twice the rate of inflation and 7 times the pace of population growth. You can't make the argument that it was because it was inflation or population growth. That's an unheard of budget increase. So that's what I would say. I would say that that's something I don't agree on. You know?
All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money to increase the budget by.
You see, my point though is if it's a set percentage
Yeah.
and the amount you're applying it to increases, then the total tax in nominal terms is going to increase.
Yeah, yeah.
Not because of anything the governor did,
Mhm.
okay? So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think I learned whether did the rate increase or did the amount applied to the rate increase?
Okay, so let me see if I can understand. So you're saying did that also include an increase in our tax rate? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, so the outside of those taxes, so House Bill 231, Senate Bill 542, there was a couple others that added additional tax. So second properties, rental homes, whatever it is, not primary residence. There's a tax increase on that. They didn't. I don't believe that we raised our income tax.
Okay, so for those three, let's just take those three.
Yeah.
Where do you stand?
That's crazy.
Okay.
No.
That answers the
No
question.
way. No way. We should not be raising. I mean, think about it for you guys. That, like, if you have your primary residence on a chunk of land, and then you have an adjacent chunk, you know, maybe across the way, you have another 10 acres or something. Those are separate parcels. You're going to pay an increase in property taxes on a separate parcel. I mean, that's nuts. We have to stand for not. I don't like property taxes at all. I mean, you ask the question. Yeah, exactly. And it gets worse and worse when you get on the inside and you see the fraud, waste, and abuse, and how people are not good fiduciaries with other people's money. And I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it very, very firsthand, you guys. I saw it when I was in the military, and I've seen it even at the local levels, big time. Where if you don't speak up, they're like, you can't just spend $20,000 out of the general fund on gifts. We can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I don't. You know, I'm not trying to be super adversarial towards people because I'm sure you can make an argument that. We should use this tax money for this. It would help these people or something. I get it, but I don't believe that that's the role of government.
That's what charity is for. If you want to do that, take care of it.
100% agree. Yeah.
How do you?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Ryan Funkin? How would you work with him, or wouldn't you want to?
I have a good cordial relationship with Ryan, and I would if he stands for the Constitution and he stands for doing what's right, I'm all for it. Likewise, same with the other candidates running, all for it.
Because I know they need a raise, that's why I'm asking, and if you're gonna go through all this, if you do get elected and go
Yeah.
through it all,
Yeah.
would you be willing to give them a raise? Because they do, I mean, that's not something that's,
Yeah.
it is,
This is a tough one because of how we fund law enforcement in the state. So, because really what you're asking, I think, would be, would I sponsor or help carry legislation or vote for legislation that would pull some of that money and then give it back to counties, right, for pay increases?
yes.
It's, I would have to see the bill. I would wanna know exactly what we're getting at, because I'm telling you, when I say it, I'm not going to vote for things that sound really good, that raise our taxes, or they're gonna have to raise our taxes. I don't like that. I think there's plenty of ways, by just prioritizing where our money should go. Remember I said, the role of government, provide for, so common defense would be one. Okay, so if that's the role of government, ensuring that we have good public safety and safe communities and whatnot, well, I agree with that. So where's all the other money being spent? Prioritize it and then take some of the money and actually put it into something that's beneficial, that is needed, the role of government, not
Yeah.
nanny state stuff,
One crazy idea to think about.
Okay.
We have a tremendous amount of recreational traffic. If we had a sales tax instead of a real estate tax, you might have a better distribution, and you wouldn't put a landowner in the prospect of having his land stolen from him by the government.
The only way that I would ever even consider it is if you could somehow guarantee that our income tax disappears or property tax disappear or both. The only way I would ever say, yeah, I'll do the sales tax.
Agreed.
Because there's no, I don't trust that would.
No, you're absolutely correct.
I just.
But if it was a single bill
Yeah,
that removed one and added the other,
yeah.
that might work.
And if that came before and it was the piece of legislation that we're looking for, and that's how it was, I would almost say you'd need probably like a Montana State constitutional amendment to protect us.
To lock it.
That you could say it never will come. You can't have both or whatever. Because I just don't. I can give you examples of states that did this, and what happened.
Washington.
Yep, what happened, so. Property tax, income tax, sales tax, it'll ease the burden on the homeowners. It'll ease the burden, and then what happens? Government grows, and over time, the tax rates increase a little bit. This is like,
Washington State has no income tax written into their constitution, and look what they just did.
Well, Washington's a little different.
Well, we know that.
yeah.
It's not the Washington I grew up in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Some other things that I think I would mention if we're talking about pieces of legislation that would help both our district and then the state would be, look at the resources we have. Look at our timber. I mean, it's incredible, and we're mismanaging this thing. We're allowing the federal government to have their hands in it, which I've heard the arguments as to why that maybe is a good thing or a bad thing. Fine, but I have friends that work in the industry that they are on sales, and these sales are tied up in litigation for 10 years. They can't even go and harvest it because of the spotted snow geese owl or whatever it is, the freckled nosed mouse or whatever it is. And I mean, this is 2026, like we have the technology and the know-how to harvest timber responsibly. Why would we not do it? And why are we allowing it to be tied up in regulation, or not regulation, but litigation like that?
Or we're shipping it out of the area instead of putting jobs right here.
Yeah, I mean, but I sometimes I buy plywood or OSB from Canada, and I'm looking around like, this is nuts. What are we doing?
Whenever you go into Walmart,
Yeah.
Home Depot and Lowe's,
Yeah.
and you look at the cost of it,
Yeah.
being in an area with so many trees,
Yeah.
$70 for a sheet of plywood? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so
It's
that's,
ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
Say-
I've said that.
we have incredible incredible renewable resources, we have the technology to harvest it in a very responsible way. Why are we not doing it? I mean, look at what it would build for us. Same thing, it goes with minerals too. We should be mining out here, doing it responsibly. Energy, the same thing. We should be producing energy in Montana. It should be cheap for us. We should be selling it to other places. And I mean, I know some of those things we do, sort of, depends on where you're at, but I mean, you guys, look at our district. Majority of it's national forest, and a majority of it catches on fire. You know, every year, every other year, we have these issues.
What is it, 90%?
Yeah.
7% private land, that's it.
And if we did that too, you think about the industry that would actually be brought in, the jobs, the impact on our, I said it earlier, our kids, their kids. If we actually brought that, we should be supplying people with this stuff. We shouldn't be importing it.
No, exactly, that's what I think too.
Look at the resources we've been blessed with. I mean, Montana's incredible with it.
And there's gotta be some way to bring our industry back. I know I've heard that one man who owned the mill, the last mill that closed in St. Regis, won't sell it. But there's gotta be some way to bring this industry back, because it is so critical to everyone around here. I mean, like you say, the jobs that it just brings, you know.
If the
The other
government,
thing was, what about like farmland? Couldn't we get a tax deduction for people who grow, like for vegetable vendors, like Moxie Market when it was selling vegetables? If they grew their own vegetables, or if you have property that grows so much that sells vegetables to either to the restaurants or to the, like Moxie Markets or the grocery stores, couldn't we get them a tax deduction too?
Yeah, I like that. I like it. I think that there is some tax reductions on ag land already, but I don't think it's like, if you have a half-acre garden or something.
Yeah, no, I understand that, no, I mean, yeah,
I think that's,
and not just on the land, I think they have to grow and produce, I think that's the way that should be done.
Yeah,
And I think, one of the things I've always thought is like, those vegetable stands we're along I-90.
yeah,
You put up some vegetable stands up there and people are gonna pull off and then they're gonna spend more money in the area because we do when we travel. I see a vegetable stand, he knows.
yeah.
It's pull over time.
If you want to look further ahead
Yeah.
on the lumber, we should cut the tree and then we should mill it
Oh, yeah.
here in the county.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we
100%
should then
agree.
advance that milling
Yeah.
to making things like window frames, etc.
Yeah.
And I tried to sell that to a couple of guys here about 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't get very far, but it's not just cutting the trees in the summer. You gotta keep people employed over the winter.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to take advantage of the fact that you're going to have people who aren't going to be able to work because of the mechanization of the tree cutting, which has changed dramatically just in the 20-some years I have been here.
Yeah.
So thinking long-term,
Yeah.
and I think prioritizing our workers in the state, the federal government is getting ready to go back to that Ward Creek section. How many of those people are actually employed that live in this area or even live in Montana? And that, I think, should be a state priority with the federal government's negotiating to say, you're only giving us a fraction of what our lumber's worth. You need to give us the jobs too, so that people, even if it is only seasonal because there are no mills, we're still infusing our community into people that can make a living.
Yes, for what it's worth. This past summer, DNRC thinned out saplings up on Agri Creek where I live. 2 teams of guys, and not a single one of them spoke English. Assistant supervisors.
Really?
Could have been local labor.
Yeah.
Found that out.
Should have been local labor, yeah. Yeah, teenagers that we want to live.
Oh, yeah.
Live like that.
It was to ease the budget for DNRC. see, that's true, but it's a trade-off, right? Okay.
No, I think we should, you're right.
Yeah.
We got plenty of young kids that are good. Anything else from you guys? Any other thoughts or questions or concerns?
We ought to get the tax off of whiskey.
Well, one other thing I always thought about is that, since you're a school teacher, I'll bring it up to you. Our schools here should have like these SNAP programs where they teach, auto mechanics, how to fix tractors, how to fix the equipment that you want to bring the logging back, how to fix these equipments. We should have these kind of SNAP programs. What could you do to even bring that up? I mean,
Industrial trades with the.
yeah,
That's a high school deal.
yeah, high school and
Our
junior high.
our high school should be consolidated so that you could have some of that training in detail.
Yeah, you could do it, any kind of training that, would help in today's. Pipe fitting is a big one that you don't get a lot of people.
Welding.
Welding,
And
yeah.
especially when you look at what AI is going to do to a heck of a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
It's not going to take away a guy at a
Yes,
minute.
yes.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Fixing something.
Yeah.
Healthcare was what I took in high school, and there's a lot of opportunity for those jobs in homes right here in the West End. I mean, somebody who's 18 years old and able to pass the background check can be working for senior citizens, getting either paid by the VA, getting paid by Medicare, Medicaid. That's one of the ones I'd really love to see. Kids as young as 16 can teach Red Cross CPR and all the classes involved with Red Cross. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'd definitely support on that one.
Yeah.
That's one I would think.
I like it a lot. Well, I mean, good to see you again.
See you, Bill.
The old model of education, because of what you just brought up, the AI stuff, I'm a little apprehensive and nervous about what is going to take place in the next 10 years. It is, so all of the data entry jobs, all of the jobs that deal with a mind, computing things or whatever, those are going to be gone. So the trades are, and I've been telling my students that, you should really look at the trades. Because that's the thing is, so the actual, like the large language models, they're going to be able to do all the data entry stuff, all of the accounting, all the math jobs, that kind of stuff, that will be taken over. But AI is not ready to, we don't have the actual, what was it, cybernetics, to where it has the dexterity to
Yeah.
do
They're
plumbing
coming up
underneath the
with
house
that
or something like that.
They are getting it.
Yeah. But it'll be out. That'll be out for a while. So
Oh, I wouldn't bet too long. I'm betting in the next 10 years they'll come up with it. It's not, it'll be in the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years they'll come up with it. Because you think about it, they've already have things like, my brother's paraplegic, he's in a wheelchair, and they've already got legs that people can use, stand up, it stands them up, he can walk with them, so they're getting there.
okay.
And, how far they are, I'm betting they're farther ahead than, they tell us, I'm sure of that.
What do they say? They say something like military technology is 20 years ahead of what civilian is.
Yeah, at least. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I believe we have the cure to cancer too. The other big thing is, the big pharmacy. There's no money in a cure. Like Biden said, they cured my cancer. Well, he sort of told me right there, they actually have the cure for cancer. They cure a lot of these kids. Look how long we've been studying it. Look how much we've learned in genetics. You're telling me you can't come up with a cure, but yet you'll come up with all these shots to give kids. There used to be measles and mumps, which was fine. Now it's, 167 shots they got to get before they can go to school? I tell them, you can take that needle, and because there's no way I'd let them do. Well, our one grandson, that's why he's autistic, because he got his shots too close together. I remember my stepdaughter calling me one night and saying, my son's burning up with a fever, we just had his shots done, and I told her, I said, cool him down, put him in a tub that's about 60 degrees, if it goes any higher, take him directly to the hospital, but otherwise that should cool him down, but there was nothing you can do, and that caused the autism. What did autism rate raise now?
Like 39-1.
Yeah, 39-1, where it used to be what, like
Yeah.
6 to 100 or something like that, for out of 100 children, maybe 6. Yeah, 1 to 2,500, and now it's 39 have it and 1 doesn't? Her, 39 don't,
I
okay.
can give you another example. I had enough ivermectin so that when my wife died, COVID-19, she was over in 3 days.
Yeah.
I spent 14 days in the hospital. 4 different times they screwed up. I probably should have sued her, but it was just, he was dead. The shepherd bullets.
We have a lot of DEI doctors now. I don't believe there's a lot of good doctors.
Well, if they're in every other industry, why would you think they could use medicine?
Exactly, and I think that's something that we need to consider too. That's like Juliet said, that would be good classes for snaps around here. Get good medical professionals and.
Well, your medical professionals or your healthcare is a place where AI will come up with a machine, but there still has to be that
Person, yeah.
You know, you will still have,
Person.
I don't care how much AI you come up with, you still are going to need a CRNA, you're still going to need an RN, you're still going to need a PA or an NP.
No
You-
robot's gonna pick them up off the
No.
ditch
Right.
on the side of the
Right,
highway.
same thing. I mean, think about running, Julia, as an EMT. What could a machine have done that we used to do down in the ditch?
Help me, that's all.
You know, so.
Faster access
But
to information.
this gets back to where the kids should be going, or where the school should be teaching the kids to go, is the healthcare as a profession, as well as all of the quote-unquote industrial arts.
Perhaps.
There's so much that they could help the kids with. Even now, they don't teach any kind of home, I want to say home ec, because I'm a woman, but I mean balancing the budget. They don't teach anything like that anymore.
I did.
Nothing.
Hold on. Now, I told you I had a small sample size, but in our econ class, I do personal finance unit, and we go through, you guys ever played the game of life? That
Yeah.
game? Okay, so I came up with this idea kind of based off of that, but it's a whole deal where they draw a career, and they have a set amount that they're making, and they have to write monthly budgets.
That's good.
But we go through everything, it's not like a couple things, and it's funny because a lot of them are like, this is crazy. I didn't know there's so many bills to pay on. Get ready, you know?
Yeah, there's
We
a
go
lot
through
more
the,
besides
I show them
that.
their tax brackets, we look at, okay, so if you're making $40,000 a year as, you know, whatever your profession is, this is how much you're gonna be taking out in taxes. I mean, we go through the entire thing, we do state taxes, federal taxes, we talk about saving for retirement, we do it all, which is,
That's so good, but I mean, so few places.
The one I always remember when you talk about going through this, because it's the first time most kids have seen it, if they haven't been taught at home, is to look at it and say, I'm making $18 an hour. Hey, is that what you got in your check?
no.
No, it says, who's FICA? Yeah, but they have no clue when they hire on that $18, that is not $18 they're gonna get every hour.
Yeah, they don't.
And I really think that that's also, it's something that should unite people.
Yes.
It should unite, whether you're on the left, the right, whatever,
Oh.
we all are getting our money taken from us. And you should care about how the money is being spent and what it's being used on, and if it's actually being used responsibly. I mean, that seems like, that should be like the ultimate nonpartisan thing.
Doesn't sound like me.
Well, there's an old military story that Bruce knows, and you probably were told, where it only lasted a day or two before the poor guy was probably demoted. He wanted the men to know where their money went. So when paycheck time came, instead of handing them a check, you start in the line here and he hands you a wad of cash. Okay, then you go to the next table. Oh, this is the feds, and they take,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, this is this, and this is the,
yeah.
all the way down the line, but each time that it's taken out, they tell them why it's taken out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're at the other end with, you know,
Yep,
and
that's powerful.
they have no clue.
The thing too that I don't think a lot of people understand about inflation is it's a hidden tax, and it's a hidden tax on lower and middle class. It's not a hidden tax on people that are billionaires. It's a hidden tax on lower middle class. I mean, think about it. Think about how, so my dollar, I have this book in my classroom that it's called The Value of a Dollar, and it tracks historical prices from like late 1800s until, it's not today, but it's, I'll say like the late 90s. And, you know, it's like a loaf of bread was 5 cents. And a loaf of bread is not 5 cents anymore. What happened? Isn't it still a loaf of bread? Yeah. So that the ingredients didn't change. But what changed? The amount of money in circulation. And it's actually insidious, because if you want to pay for something, if you're government, when you print that money, what you're doing is diminishing all of our purchasing power to be able to pay for it in the short term. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And what happens? Our kids feel the blunt. But it's weird because we just kind of acquiesce. It's like, well, we've just accepted. Well, this is just what happens. We don't have a currency that's based off of anything. It's a fiat currency. It's not based off anything, you know? Gold standard's gone.
Yeah.
We don't have state banks backed by gold and silver anymore. I did not realize that Montana has none anymore.
I mean, here's the deal too. I don't even know. I personally don't know of a single bank. I'm sure they're out there, maybe, that aren't FDIC insured. So that's that program that came in the New Deal that said, if your money's in a bank and the bank closes, goes out of business or whatever, the federal government will reimburse you up to $250,000 or $275,000, whatever it is. I don't know of a single bank though that is not FDIC insured, which means then that they're all under the big umbrella of the central banks in the United States, the Federal Reserve System.
Well, the other question is, when do you get that money though?
Oh, yeah, I don't
Never.
I mean, you'd ask that, what was that Silicon Bank that went out a few years back
Yeah.
down there in
San
California?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm curious to know, those people that lost millions,
Yeah.
where.
The Senate is now specified that he's going to audit some of these banks' mechanisms because he believes that they participated in the fraud of money going out of our country too.
Oh, really?
So, but the mechanisms of what's going on with JP Morgan is going to be looked at.
Oh, yeah, JP Morgan's under a fine tooth comb now, that's
About time.
Well, that FDIC, they only have 1% of reserves.
Oh, really?
Yes. And that deal in California, they made a special deal with the government because of who was being hurt.
His
And
pockets
they
was
covered
good.
100%, everything over 250 also.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I don't agree with bailouts either. I agree with that either, because if I have a business and it fails, I'm not gonna get a bailout check.
Yeah.
I sometimes carry an old Porter,
Yeah.
and when I was in college back in 1959, with that 25-cent piece, I could get a McDonald's hamburger and a McDonald's Big Coke. Okay? Today, because of the value of the silver, I can still do it. With, okay?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's a silver,
Yeah.
it's a silver plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
So have you read the House Bill 819, the workforce housing bill that we are now being allocated $5 million dispensed out of Mineral County to 15 other counties, including ourselves? It's intended to build houses on county property and then sell them into the workforce at $280,000 with special rules to be able to open it up for those that are the lower income but working within the county. So, if you haven't seen it, please read it because It sounds socialist.
to me, but
yeah, I don't, I said role of government, I don't think it's the government's role to provide housing for us.
I don't have a problem if they didn't retain control over it after they sell it to an owner. That was where,
All you have to do is look at the example of the big cities that have done, government-funded housing, the projects. How's that work out? You know?
oh, heck, Green Green was just wonderful. I lived outside Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it's, that, like, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, the proof is there of what actually happens. And I don't think it's the role of government to provide housing for us. I don't. Because ultimately, how does the government fund anything? Our taxes. So then, so you're forcing us to provide housing for somebody else. Well, we're trying to save and build our place right now.
Yeah.
We're grinding. I'm trying to do all the work myself and not get into debt and do this. But then you're gonna take my money and then give it to somebody else.
Somebody else,
That's not the role of government. It's not the role of government.
No.
I agree.
And
And they do it quite a bit. Well, look at, the other thing I disagree that the government is doing right now is the welfare where they support these babies. A woman has a baby, we're gonna cover it 100% because she's not married and she says, you know, that she needs that. She has another baby. Well, this is a different father. We'll cover it 100%. I am sorry, but that is not the role of our government to cover people from having babies. It's one of the reasons why the abortion rate's high too. It's not the role of our government to feed their children. I mean, you know, yeah, I should have told my dad, Dad, let the government feed us. We probably ate better, more than just hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad one too, but there's nothing, you know, how we go. Yeah.
I don't know, the abortion thing, I heard a statistic, from the World Health Organization, and I think they said something like 72 million or 70 million abortions carried out every year worldwide, 70 million.
The majority are
That's ridiculous.
right here in the United States. It is
No, we're
not a
paying for
common
them,
practice
that's
elsewhere.
ridiculous.
And
It's
it's
utterly
And it's
ridiculous.
something like 40% of abortions that are carried out are people's second abortions. 40%. And it might even be a little bit higher now, it might be like something like 43%. You're having a second one? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
why?
it's always sold to us as health of the mother. What about rape? What about incest? These are such small
What about
percentages.
adoption?
How about when does the kid get its rights? When are they? Everybody talks about healthcare is people on the left will say healthcare is a universal human right. Everybody deserves these kinds of things. Okay, so when does the kid get it? There's that. If you believe that, when does the kid? Well, it's the mother's body. It's
Yeah.
not.
And if it's a human right, then
We gotta protect our kids.
whose
Yeah,
right is
that's
it to take someone else's job, to take someone else's work? You know, a doctor doesn't come along for free.
Well, here's one thing to think of, okay, and I don't think it's a good idea either, but actually two things to think about. Number one is, who is gonna pay for all those kids from the single mother? Okay? If you've looked at the cost, it is astronomical.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, there's a question about philosophy, and I don't know the answer, okay? I'm not a brilliant Bible guy, but supposedly the soul is not imparted until like the third trimester or something like that. And I honestly don't know, but I have read some very far more knowledgeable Bible scholars than me. And so that also is a question, and I don't know the answer. But the cost is significant, and so we need to develop a process to preclude the child being inseminated. You know,
Yeah.
and
We'll see.
You start by not having the destruction of the family. That would
Yeah.
be a good one.
When I started out in junior high and stuff, they were starting that back then. That's when they, sex education and why you don't want to have children as teenagers. When my nieces went to school, it was the biggest thing. They didn't do that anymore. And it was the biggest thing. All the teenage girls wanted to have babies. And I think it's like 5 of her friends, besides her, all had babies. She's still with the husband, but none of the others, they were all teenagers. So they're not with their husbands, and I don't know how many kids they have now, but it's a problem. These are things, once again, that's the parents' responsibility. They're where the parents are lacking. They need to teach children responsible behavior.
I don't remember who the girl was, but I heard that was right here. She wanted to get pregnant so she could get out of the house and have her own place.
She'd get her own place that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because the government wouldn't do it.
Which sounds like exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just, it's ridiculous. Well, that's why the Democrats went so far to do, now they're so far into this, changing the child. You're a girl, you're now a boy. You're a boy, you're now a girl, so you can have babies. That's all for population control. That's population control straight up. They want to do away with a good deal of the population.
Back in high school, I would have liked to have said that's like going to the girls' locker room.
I mean, you weren't one of the boys that got pushed into the locker room.
I think he's got some other stuff to do.
Sorry.
And the video will be available for everybody.
God.
So, do you have a plan of action maybe over the next 2 years on how to judge the feedback from your constituents or to keep us informed?
Yeah.
Are you the type that would have more meetings after you're elected and?
Yeah, on this, one of the big things I put is transparency. I know that a lot of people feel out of touch, even with state representatives, it's like, what is going on? And I had heard some people that have served in Helena that will say things like, yeah, you don't understand though. January to March, it's nuts. And 1,000 bills. You can't keep up. It's crazy. Some of you don't have time to read or whatever. And in my mind, I think that would be something that you should let constituents know. And I heard somebody was telling me I don't know who the representative is or the senator is that prints out the bills and keeps them on his desk. And it's these just stacks and stacks of paper, bills that come just in the state. And I think that's probably very powerful. I think people would really benefit, voters that care would really benefit from understanding what is this process like. That's kind of out of control, And then you get into, I've heard people say, well, what about ideas of like volunteer bill readers, where you get your constituents involved. Like, hey, sending this out. These are some big ones, you guys. Look them over and give me your feedback. I think that would be so beneficial.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
The Legiscan is awful. If you want to look something up, good luck, Chuck.
You're right, yeah. I was going to say too, I don't know if any of you guys get the email. I think it's the Senate Republican email. They put it out, I want to say it's monthly, but they give you an update from the GOP side. Here's what's going on, these are the things that we're working on, whatever, and they kind of give you an update. Now it's only once a month, and I like that idea, but if we're talking about like in session, letting people know, I think, okay, full disclosure, I don't like social media, okay? I don't like it, I think it's destructive. I know there's benefits of it. I have my ways, okay? So like I have, I guess, what would they say, in the intelligence community, a cutout. So I can get on there and if I need to sell something online, I can do it or whatever, on the marketplace, fine. But I don't use it. I don't. It's my way to protest, I guess, against the system, okay? But there could be a place for it as far as letting voters know, letting constituents know, people in our district know, like, what is going on. And I think like weekly updates would be very reasonable.
A small website alone would be
Yeah.
great.
It would be very reasonable to do that. Or like what you're doing with the YouTube channel thing, like a quick little video blog deal, you know, like, hey, this is what we're up against. Here's some things that are coming down the pipe, you know, bills that you guys need to be fully aware of. This is where this is what my thoughts are on it. I need to know your thoughts. Something like that. I think that'd be awesome. I don't get that sense from our representatives.
No, well, part of it too is you need something besides the bill on the floor. You've gotta do the committee level.
Yeah.
The time a bill spends in committee trying to get to the floor,
Yeah.
and not by calling names, but okay, what's the objection in the committee?
Yeah.
Why are they against this, or why are they amending it? You just read it and it sounded like a good idea, and okay, the committee got hold of it.
Yeah.
How come it doesn't read anywhere near like what came in?
Yeah.
And why are they doing this to it? And then it hits the floor and it's another bill, it doesn't even have to do with what you thought it was the first time.
Yeah, it would be nice as a voter to know what is going on.
Right, and during session, like you say, you've got 3 months where this is all,
Yeah.
condensed.
Yeah.
It needs to be a lot more than once a month. And
So I think like
then we get down to, okay, so who, while he's busy trying to read through all of it, who's gonna provide that info to us?
Yeah.
You,
Priority, you guys know this though, it's like, you can find that. That prioritizing,
Oh, yeah,
I think there's ways, and if it's sharing the burden, like the bill reading, having people that are constituents that care and they want to do that, I think that's awesome. Building a community, because it's supposed to be us, we're supposed to be running the government,
right.
you know?
We the
Principal
people.
self-governance, yeah.
There's something to be said for volunteerism, and especially being able to get the younger generation involved, you know? Centers for Self-Governance does 2 classes for kids,
Yeah.
elementary and high school, and then of course for adults as well, but that's a great way to get the kids started is maybe they can help you read them bills, or maybe they can help you distribute the information.
So you still gonna maintain your teaching position or?
So, last go around when I ran, I spoke with the administration and it sounds like we would treat it like a National Guard deployment.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be paid from January to March or January to end of March, while we're in session. We're only in session odd years, which is fine. Yeah, so I wouldn't be paid for that, they treat it like National Guard deployment, come back, they just do a long-term sub for that portion of time.
The one bill I'd like to see come up for Montana is the end of the chemtrails. I want to see an end to them, and they just started, when they started, about the year after, or the year we moved up here, so they haven't been here that long, and those chemtrails are just deadly to everything.
because you're a historian, I think that's very significant.
History teacher.
Yes. Now, whether or not you read the right stuff, we could argue about that, you know.
Yeah. I'm actually just a history student, I teach history.
Because of the significance of our schools to our future,
Yeah.
having a teacher in the legislature is extremely important. And that to me is 50% of your capability, or, you know, why I think you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you're talking about the future, and this guy puts a bunch of that future together.
I got a question for you guys. If stuff comes up in the legislature where they're wanting to increase
No.
the STARS Act. You remember this? This is just passed last go around, the STARS Act. So it's a bill that will raise starting teacher salary to 40,000 or 40. It's like around 40,000. So any new teacher will hit that. Like you come in, if your school district takes the STARS money, you have to pay new teachers that 40,000 or 40,800, whatever it is. It's like, well, let's say 40,000. You have to pay them that because what they're trying to do is make educators, or they're trying to make it more, incentivize good educators to come to the schools, higher pay, they think that'll do it okay.
What's the rub?
So, things like this, I don't know if I think I might remove myself from the votes. Or if, with the STARS Act, I might have voted against this. I'm gonna tell you why, okay? And I don't know if they went through this process, I gotta believe they did. I wasn't in the committees when they were debating these things, but think about a rural school district like this. So you say, we want you to take this STARS Act money, okay? It's a lot of money. We want you to take this STARS Act money, but you have to raise the starting salary of those new teachers $40,000. When I started teaching 8 years ago, my starting salary was like $29,000. Okay, so now, so let's say for all these rural poor school districts, let's say the starting salary was $34,000. Well, to reach the $40,000, everybody's salary has to then be adjusted. Full disclosure, I'm not part of the ed union. I don't agree with them. I don't. So I'm a conscientious objector. Okay, not part of the education union. But the education union immediately says this: fine, you're going to raise teacher salaries, starting teacher salary. What about this guy? He's taught here for 5 years and he doesn't make $40,000. Are you going to raise his salary? And is it going to be in line? Is it going to be a full step? Does that make sense? So what did it actually do for a rural school district? It put them in this position of like, well, okay, we want to take the STARS money, we want to bring in good teachers, but how are we going to afford to pay everybody's increase in their salaries? People were freaking out about this. And I don't know. I didn't think you had to be a genius to like have said, if you raise a brand new teacher fresh out of college, a 23-year-old, if you give them a $40,000 a year starting pay, and you have teachers that have taught there for 3 or 4 years and they only make $36,000, are you going to raise their pay? But anyways, so like with stuff like that, I'd probably say no. But I'm talking about things like, let's say they were going to do something like, something that actually affect me as a teacher. I need you guys to understand that I would probably step out of taking a vote on that, because I feel like there'd be a serious conflict of interest. If it was going to somehow benefit me, does that make sense?
Well, I don't know if I'd want you to, because if it's somehow going to benefit you, it's going to benefit other teachers. And then I want your vote there so everybody else can benefit. That's the
You're
problem
not the
with
only
pulling
teacher.
yourself out of voting.
Yeah.
Even if it benefits you, I mean, if it's not putting money directly into your pocket,
Yeah.
or if it's putting money directly in your pocket and nobody else's, then I want you to step out. But if it can benefit everybody else, I want you there. I want my congressman there to do all the votes.
Every bill that you vote on has some influence on you.
Yeah, basically, that's true.
Right. Yeah, the tax bill
true.
for sure. You're right about that.
So,
Yeah, I think
I
that's something
understand
that
your
really
thought
think about.
process, but I might need your vote.
Yeah.
I understand this, yeah.
The other thing is to bring out to the public, it's really easy to say, oh yeah, that's great, we'll get those new teachers for 40.
Yeah.
Tell the public, that also means every teacher in the school gets a raise.
And what does that do for the local districts? They're gonna try to pass new mills, new levies, right? Increase the mill.
Right.
So that's what they're gonna do, because how are they gonna afford to pay?
They are.
Can't, no.
I mean, that 40 in that bill alone, what that would do to the school districts, to the village?
Well, they did it pass, and there's San Vegas, I believe, took the STARS money. I mean, because then it also puts us in this position. Okay, so let's say you're a rural school district and you say, no, we're not gonna do it because we can't afford to raise everybody's salary. Well, any new teachers are gonna be like, well, I'm not going to that. They don't even, their starting salary is not 40. It's only at 30,
Right.
32. No.
Well, the person that wrote the bill wasn't thinking ahead. That the vision thing,
Yeah.
which was the original Bush,
Yeah.
who
My
said
vision thing.
Yeah, it's the vision thing.
Yeah.
What is this action going to cause in the future?
Yeah.
And whereas my vision is raise the children here and teach them, the ones that want to be teachers, teach them, send them, go, tell them, go and come back home. And, we don't offer offer anything for the youth here, and it's hard for them.
So what you do is you just quit, okay? Then you get your heart attack in.
We joked about it. This is a huge running joke.
Good
That was listen, that was a huge running joke. We're like, wait a second, so fine. Yeah.
How
If
about
I,
if I
if
just
I only make
quit
36,000 right now,
something?
why would I not just quit?
Quit.
Yeah.
And go get hired someplace else that's gonna start making 40, I'll make a $4,000 increase and start over.
Yeah.
Do you see that it looks so, and you know what it is too, is it's kind of a trap, because like think about, so somebody that gets up there and it's like, no way, this is a bad idea, and you vote no against it, immediately you're on the attack, so you
Yeah,
go, we
you
don't stand for
voted
public
against
education.
raising teachers'
Yeah,
salaries? Oh.
It's crazy, it
Yeah.
would be, I know how it would go, and I'm sure a lot of people that voted against it got heat just like that, you know?
Are you prepared for that heat?
No,
Because
sure.
you know there'll be things that happen.
I asked
Look at
you,
all of you.
Yeah, thick skin, yeah, thick skin,
Jimmy, all you need to get on the phone.
yeah.
we raised some money for him last time for his psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Apparently,
That's a joke. If anybody's listening, that's not true.
No, I think the biggest problem on the bills is getting a level that everybody understands out to the public,
Yeah,
what this means. That sounds good about that first year teacher.
yeah.
Do you understand that means every teacher here gets X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And that in order for that to happen, the millage for everybody who lives in the county goes up. Now, are you still all for
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are, that's great,
Yeah.
but it's getting the information out.
It is, it's gonna cause a significant ripple effect. I mean, it is, rural school districts all over are gonna be trapped. If we take the money, how are we gonna raise everybody else's spend?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to try to increase local taxes, we're gonna have to. You're gonna see it in and around our district, I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
should we write the letter to him now?
They're drafting.
It's the same with the Medicaid and the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you want to take care of those poor people that can't afford.
So where's their thinking of that? You know, you've been in for 5 years, working your way up to getting more money, bring something new,
Yeah.
It's sorry.
And then, what are they gonna stay there at 40,000 or they gonna move up?
Well, they had to adjust everybody's salary, the salary schedule, because you have that, it's whatever the matrix is, so you have the time you've taught, and then the education that you have, and you'll move up depending on those things. Well, everything has to be adjusted, everything.
Right.
It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and, I don't know, the education thing is very, very important to me because it's so broken. And we keep thinking if we just throw money at it, that somehow this is gonna fix it. We do this, money and technology. That's what'll make us have kids that can read, write, critically think, do math and science. But I mean, you can make an argument probably in the next 10 years. Are you really gonna need to know how to do pre-algebra, calculus, trig? Are you really gonna need to know how to do those things? I don't work in those fields, but I'm gonna tell you now, I understand what's going on behind the scenes with the AI stuff.
Well, it's a basic need for that critical thinking you're talking about.
Yeah, but the reading, writing, communicating, and then I just had a conversation last night with a good friend talking about all of the skills that we are failing kids in public education on, which is show up on time, follow directions, attention to detail. You know what I'm saying? Reliability, resourceful, learning how to be resourceful. All of those skills.
Look how you show up.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
That's a big thing right there.
Yeah. Being able to communicate effectively, being able to explain or whatever. All of those, because I don't know what job you're going to have as if one of my students. I have no idea. But I'll tell you right now, every single one of you will have a job that it will be beneficial for you to be able to show up on time, build full directions, have attention to detail. So,
Yes.
and we're not, what we're doing is we're pushing all this technology on them. We push all this tech on them, and it's like, this is gonna somehow solve that problem. And then we lower our standards when it comes to what they call
Yeah.
soft skills.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because I think right now, I don't think that in Montana you can fail a kiddo because of attendance. I think that there's actual legislation that's been passed. And when I went to school, I failed in English class. I had a B in the class, but I failed it. Why? Because I was skipping school. And I had unexcused absences, and I had to go in and do summer credit makeup for it. Because that was the requirement. You want to graduate, this is what it is. You had unexcused absences, 3 or more, sorry, you're not going to pass. You need to be there. That's real life, because guess what happens if I don't show up for my job?
Yeah.
I get fired.
There was a coach, and I can't remember his name now, but his time was you always show up 15 minutes before the appointment.
Yeah, makes sense. Like it.
Yeah.
Like it. You show up on time.
Yeah. Well, you gotta
And have accountability. Yeah.
you show up the extra because you may get screwed up en route.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I told Mike
Especially
we're
here.
gonna leave at about 5:02, he goes 1:45. I said 5:02, we'll be down there, he goes, it'll be too jammed. So we left at 1:45, but
No,
yeah,
we
he,
didn't.
he gets all upside, he wants that 15 minutes.
I get a 9 if I'm.
He does.
I like it. Yeah, I know.
That's a.
Diane and I have a thing about if you're not early, you're
On
late.
time, you know, early is on time.
Yeah. Well, that was the same thing with the one I started, going to jobs. I mean, I dressed properly. At that time, it was a dark blue jacket, white shirt and a dark blue skirt. And, even I was just a cashier at the stores, but I'd go into them and they'd hire me. Now, you don't even go in to be hired, It's sad. I don't understand that. How can a boss not want to meet their people in person right away? It just doesn't make sense to somebody.
Because he'll get sued because he didn't do DEI probably.
So with the Department of Education federally now being kind of taken out of the equation at the state level, is there a way we can convince you, I don't think it'll be a hard one, to find if there's carve out for our schools to maybe add some of the VOTEC? Who knows, maybe we can incentivize businesses to team up with schools or with students that are, their last year of high school, we know the second semester is kind of a glide, and if that's where I got my tech, was during my second semester, my senior year, and if we could push 3 kids a year even through our school, I think that's an amazing investment back into Mineral County. They might come back or they might even be able to stay with jobs.
Yes, there already is some things that our school district's doing. I don't want to speak out of turn for Superior or Alberton, but I believe it's also going on of that offering VOTEC stuff. So like I know at our school we have they'll do outside groups to come in and do construction trade stuff. The kids will they'll have somebody do framing, teach framing. They'll get a tool belt out of it, you know what I mean, and they'll be able to actually work and see it in real time and spark some of the interest in that. They've done it with I believe with electrician stuff. We also, this is kind of cool, the senior project stuff. So because this is now my second or third year being kind of a senior project, senior seminar. You can call it teacher, but I'm kind of like I proctor and I'm kind of a liaison. Like I give ideas, and kind of maybe help them with direction. But we've got a lot of students that are really going that hard on that route of the vocation, voc tech stuff. So like one student is doing an engine rebuild. The other thing too is we have FFA. think I know for sure 2 students that are doing like welding competition stuff with that thing. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
I know our fire department would really like to have kids get involved
Oh,
much
yeah.
younger than that.
Volunteer,
Yeah,
yes. We have
See-
one right now, but
yeah, and maybe that could be a good, I need to keep that, I'll put it in my repertoire ideas for kids, because I have some kids that are like, I don't know what I should do. That's a cool one. That'd be a really.
Wildland firefighters that can get trained through their fire department, help their fire departments, and help the whole community. Because like the guys he trained, they go out now, he built 2 trucks for it, or he's
Yeah.
building a second one.
Yeah.
And they go out, and that makes money for our fire department, keeps it
Yeah.
alive, you know, and helps the people
Yeah.
in the area.
Oh, yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah. If you guys know, if you yourself, like, wanna help and get involved, I'm gonna start, really organizing some, groups of people to help with things like, I don't know how far we'll go with door knocking, especially because a lot of our district's so rural that it's not the best bang for the buck, you know?
Yeah, you might get somebody getting shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocking on the door, you know.
But I think that there's a lot of benefit to phone calls, and I think there's a lot of benefit to actually writing them. And so coming up with some groups or organizations, you know, in and around areas to just get the message out. The message is this: that we can't grow the size of government. We need lower taxes. Property taxes are crazy. That's nuts. We need somebody, and I'll be the guy. I'll go in and say no. But I think unless people hear or know about it, they might just get sucked into, oh, I recognize this person's name, whatever.
Aside of the schoolhouse meetings, which are nonpartisan, I personally am more than willing to offer you and any other candidate the 2-minute snippet. If you have a topic that you want to get that information out between now and the primary,
Yeah.
call me and I am more than willing to do that. I don't edit that stuff, so have your script or your whatever you want to say, but
Yeah.
I absolutely advocate for any candidates to get the information to people before the primary, because you can't get it all here, and as we all know, attention spans are about that long, so if you can get it said in under 3 minutes, you have a better chance of get them retaining it.
Yeah.
So I welcome you to get a hold of me. I have a card for you for later, but
Excellent. Okay. I didn't get a Diane say anything to you. Everything going good? Anything on your mind, in your rule, or anything that you're concerned about?
Very little in my head.
I don't believe that.
it's probably whether you're bonded by jelly on my way out.
Do you have any concerns or anything that it's important to you?
Just, taxes, things like that. I'm from California, and I saw how it went.
Yeah.
The sales tax in particular, when I was a kid, I remember it was, my mom had a flower shop, and I remember first taxes were like 4%. And then it creeps up, it's only 1/4%, come on.
Yeah.
And every 2 years, it's only 1/4%, only 0.5%.
Yeah.
Before you know it, if you have to buy a big purchase, say a washing machine, a car, that 1/4% will kick your ass.
Yep.
And that's
So I'm saying we need somebody to say no.
I'll
I'll do it. I'll say no.
That's what would happen here because it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
The tax gate, because of inflation, you might be able to get a frozen tax total
Yeah.
as opposed to reducing your tax. Because if you froze it, it naturally will reduce as inflation goes up.
Do you remember a few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, there was a constitutional initiative that was put out? I signed this thing. Some of you might have even signed it. And that was to put a cap on property taxes. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It got and it passed, and then it's going through the process, and the courts in Montana threw it out and said you can't be, it's unconstitutional or whatever. Oh yeah, that's a real deal. That's the real deal. So that was attempted. I was fully in support of it. Why? Because if you just look ahead what she just said, just a little bit, it'll just be a little bit.
That's how.
And then in 10 years, 15 years, like this is out of control.
Well, and then there's a gasoline tax, because there's a gasoline tax for the roads.
Yep,
There's also a sales tax for gasoline.
yep.
Gasoline going up right now, it's so
There's,
stupid.
It's just a Joey's tax, now don't say nasty things about them.
which is unconstitutional in California, but the courts just say, what do you do? You know?
Yeah.
And the property tax in California, Sacramento decided we can use that, so they took it away from the cities and the counties. And now the only thing the counties have is a sales tax. And so everything just keeps going up just a little,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a perfect example of what we don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a perfect example. It's a shame because once upon a time, California, I mean, look at what they had, you know? And now it's just People's
You
Republic
don't
of
wanna give
California.
up your prime hunting maps?
What's that?
Said what? You don't want to give up your prime hunting maps in order to get your license the following year?
Yeah, it's a bummer. But it's not the only state that's doing that. Like I said earlier, I said that I don't want us to fall into this trap of big government.
Right, but
Because where else are we gonna go? There's no other places.
it's, once it starts, that's the thing, you have to stop it before it starts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because once it starts, then they're gonna start with that, it's only 0.25%,
Yeah.
and it's for the children,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it just, all those propositions on the California ballot, it's public safety, it's for the children. You know where it goes? It goes to the general fund and they spend it on whatever they want.
Whatever they want, yeah.
Same thing happens in this county.
It's a
All the money goes in the
vote
general
on
fund.
Anything that increases the size of government.
Anything, yeah,
Anything that increases the size of government or increases taxes, no way.
no way.
No.
Yeah.
He's gotta get out of here. Get home.
I don't have to, that's what they said it was till 5. So if you guys have other stuff you want to talk
I
about.
think that's changed.
Was that the alarm? Is that what the beep was?
Yeah, that's somebody's alarm.
What is it?
I have signs, I have some signs out there if you guys want signs. I also got a big one, if you guys know a place, to put a big one. I need to talk with Terry Messenbrink, I think that,
Yeah,
I think
because
he
he's
allowed me to
allowed,
put one up on.
Yeah, he's allowed
on
frontage
Messenger.
road.
Yeah, I need to talk with him and see if he's allowed me.
And then we,
This corner is Brooklyn.
yeah, Brook here and the corner where you first get off the freeway at Lincoln's. You know, where there's a big billboard
What are you
and,
talking about?
but you have to just talk to them.
It'd be better if you called Brooke and asked her.
Okay.
Okay?
So it's like
I've done
more-
it before, and she's just said yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
She just wants to be asked.
But if you put it up there without her knowing about it.
She'll turn it on.
Yeah.
She will.
I won't do that.
So if anybody knows people that are new to the area, I have voter registrations. My understanding is that the voter registration closes May 2nd. So I thought we went all the way up till the election, but somebody, I think it was Banks, posted the rules now about how you get registered to vote. If you've already been registered to vote and nothing changes, you don't have to re-register, you're good to go. So,
I got
Until tomorrow.
until the Democrats throw something in there, who knows?
So
Yeah,
there's
some
your thoughts on
documents in there.
voter registration, or the new bill that they're trying to pass.
Voter ID.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why, it seems so reasonable. If I need an ID to get on a plane, or I need an ID to open a bank account, or I need
The
an
reason
ID
they're
to
fighting this,
get-
Frank,
Buy cigarettes or.
Yeah.
it's a safeguard against their ability to get public services, so like SNAP, WIC, TAM, all these benefits. That's what the SAVE, SAVE, stands for, is it's actually a guarantee that no illegal person, only citizens are getting our benefits. That's why they're fighting it.
I think it's reasonable too.
I agree, but they're
can't go to
making it
another
sound like
country.
it's all about voter ID, and what it's doing is it's closing that loophole.
Yeah.
And that's why the Democrats are fighting.
Well, it's,
Screaming, crying about it.
that's not common sense.
It should be common sense, yeah.
Put it on the ballot, put it on the national ballot. Stop letting our representatives misrepresent us.
Yeah, that's,
Danes was originally against it. So I made 2 phone calls to him saying, hey, hey, and now he says he's for it, so I don't get it.
well, he might be just telling you something to satisfy.
Somebody
you.
offered
There's
him.
no problem with that, you
Yeah,
know?
I don't-
I mean, it could be.
Obviously enough money.
Voting records